The city of Brooksville was known for the sparkle of its storefronts and the elegance of its wide streets. Located in the heart of a major urban center, it was where luxury and power converged. Its avenues were lined with exclusive shops, award-winning restaurants, and impressive buildings that reflected the ambition and success of its residents. In the city's upscale district, one of the most prestigious luxury car dealerships stood out. Only a select few typically entered, drawn by rare and exclusive models gleaming under the pristine showroom lights. To the dealership staff, Brooksville was a place where status meant everything. It was in this setting that an unusual customer, dressed in jeans and a simple jacket, crossed the dealership's threshold. Michael Grant opened the door to the dealership with firm but quiet steps. Dressed simply in a worn jacket and dark jeans, he looked like an ordinary customer out of place in the gleaming showroom. From the high ceiling, modern chandeliers lit up the luxury cars as if they were pieces in an art exhibition. He walked through the showroom with a keen eye, observing every detail and most of all every employee. It didn't take long for Michael to notice Todd's demeanor, one of the dealership's most experienced salesmen. Todd wore an expensive suit and carried a confident, almost arrogant expression. When Michael approached him, Todd looked at him with a hint of disdain, one eyebrow raised slightly, signaling the quick, silent judgment he'd already made. "Can I help you?" Michael held his gaze and pointed to one of the store's most expensive cars, a sporty model that exuded exclusivity. He asked about the specifications, curious to see how the salesman would react. Todd let out a short, forced laugh and replied without hiding the irony. "That car. It's a limited edition. Maybe you'd like to take a look at some of our more accessible models in the back?" Michael raised an eyebrow but didn't let the provocation affect him. He stayed quiet, observing Todd and the other employees as they hurried past, ignoring his presence. Their behavior confirmed exactly what he had suspected about the store's culture. Here, customers were judged solely by their appearance and what they seemed to own. Just as he was about to walk away, a gentle voice stopped him. "Good afternoon. Would you like to see the full catalog? I can show you some incredible models." Michael looked at her and returned the smile. The young woman who approached him was named Angela. In her first month working at the dealership, Angela was an attentive and dedicated salesperson, with a natural warmth and a sparkle in her eyes. With gentle features and her hair pulled back in a simple bun, she didn't seem at all intimidated by Michael's modest appearance, nor did she make any judgments. "What kind of car are you looking for? We have several design options and features. I can help you find the one that best fits your needs." Michael flipped through the brochure, asking seemingly simple questions about the models. Angela answered each one with patience and clarity, never breaking eye contact or interrupting him. When he paused to take a closer look at a car on display, Angela offered to get him something. "Are you thirsty? I can get you a bottle of water or a coffee if you'd prefer," she suggested, her voice carrying a genuine kindness Michael hadn't felt in a dealership for a long time. Surprised and impressed, Michael accepted the coffee. As Angela walked off to fetch it, he reflected on the contrast between her approach and that of the rest of the team. Unlike Todd and the other experienced salespeople, Angela treated every customer equally. To her, each person who entered was worthy of attention and respect, regardless of their appearance or apparent status. A few minutes later, Angela returned with a hot cup of coffee and a smile. "Here you go. We also have a few snacks if you'd like." Michael thanked her, taking a sip of the coffee as he observed her closely. He saw in her a rare, genuine quality that couldn't be taught in training. A true care for others, the ability to listen and connect without needing to know who he really was. At the end of their conversation, Michael looked at Angela and, with a faint smile, said, "Thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure meeting you, Angela." She smiled in response, unaware of the impact she had left on the seemingly ordinary customer. To her, he was simply another person who deserved respect, and perhaps that was what made her a different kind of salesperson. When Michael left the dealership that day, he knew he had made an important decision about the future of the team, though no one else knew it yet. The next day, the dealership team was taken by surprise by an unexpected visit. Early in the morning, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the store, capturing everyone's attention. When the door opened, Michael stepped out, this time dressed in an impeccable suit. Beside him, an assistant held a folder and followed closely. The atmosphere in the store changed immediately. Todd and the other salespeople who had barely noticed Michael the previous day, now watched him intently, exchanging curious and apprehensive glances. There had been a rumor that the new owner of the dealership chain might make a surprise visit, but no one expected him to appear so suddenly, and looking so polished. Todd was the first to approach, wearing a helpful smile and adopting a deferential attitude, a stark contrast to his dismissive behavior from the day before. "Mr. Grant, what a pleasure to have you with us," he said, trying to sound genuinely welcoming. "It's an honor to host you here in person. May we show you our new line of cars?" Michael shook his hand firmly, though briefly, without paying him much attention. His gaze swept across the showroom, observing the surprised and tense faces of the staff. There was a seriousness in his expression, a calmness that left the employees uncertain about his intentions. Angela, who was assisting another customer at that moment, glanced discreetly at the scene and widened her eyes as she recognized Michael. Shocked, she tried to conceal her reaction, quickly turning her attention back to the customer she was helping. The brief encounter from the previous day echoed in her mind, but now she understood why he had come to the dealership. With a nod, Michael gathered everyone's attention. "I'll need a few minutes with you all for a meeting," he announced. "I'd like to discuss the direction we want for this dealership." Todd, nervous and confused, quickly nodded, gesturing for his colleagues to join him. Within moments, the entire team was gathered in a corner of the showroom, focused on the man they had assumed was just another customer the day before. Michael looked at each one of them, especially Todd, who avoided his gaze. Michael took a deep breath, giving one last look at each of the faces around him before he began to speak. There was tension in the air, and he understood why. The unexpected visit from the owner created uncertainty, but no one could anticipate what was coming. "I want to thank all of you for the work you've done here," he started. "I know that working in a luxury dealership requires a certain skill set, and maintaining our brand's reputation is a daily challenge." The team relaxed a bit, but Michael didn't wait long before changing his tone. "However, something here deeply concerns me," he continued. "Yesterday I was here as an ordinary customer. I observed how people were treated, and I can say that what I saw left me quite disappointed." Todd swallowed hard, his face paling as Michael spoke. "I saw employees who judge customers by their appearance," he went on, "who decide who deserves attention based purely on assumptions about what they may or may not afford." The room fell into absolute silence. Michael paused, allowing his words to sink in. He then turned to Angela, and for the first time, a faint smile appeared on his face. "I'd like to thank Angela," he said. "Yesterday she was the only person in this store who treated me with respect, who offered me genuine service without caring about how I appeared or what I was wearing." Angela blushed, unsure how to react, while her colleagues looked at her with a mixture of surprise and admiration. "It's exactly that attitude that I want to see in all of you," Michael continued. "And for this reason I'm promoting Angela to the position of sales manager. I believe that under her leadership, this store has a real chance to reflect the values we want to pass on to our customers." The news was a shock. Angela could barely process what she had just heard. She looked at Michael, trying to find words, but all she managed was a heartfelt thank you. While Angela tried to absorb the sudden promotion, Todd looked even more uncomfortable. Michael, however, wasn't finished with the meeting yet and wanted to leave a final message. "As for the rest of you, especially those with more experience," he said, "I hope you reconsider the way you treat everyone who walks through that door. This will be your last chance to review your attitudes." Michael ended the meeting with a look that made his expectations clear. The team, still stunned, dispersed in silence, while Angela remained in place, trying to process the unexpected turn her life had just taken. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at the Brooksville dealership changed radically. Angela, still coming to terms with her new position as sales manager, felt the weight of responsibility. She knew that the promotion came with the challenge of adjusting the team's approach, especially among the veterans who now saw her as a newcomer with unexpected authority. From her first day as manager, Angela took the initiative to reshape the store's customer service. She implemented weekly training sessions where she shared techniques on customer care and empathy. She gathered the team and, with clarity and patience, explained the importance of treating every person with the same respect and attention, regardless of appearance. The goal wasn't just to make sales but to create a welcoming and human experience. Todd, however, still showed some resistance. Accustomed to doing things his way, he saw the changes as an affront to his style, thinking Angela's emphasis on care for each customer was over the top. At times he even avoided her training sessions, claiming he already knew everything he needed about sales. But Angela, firm in her leadership, insisted he participate, stressing the importance of the new approach. The transformation soon began to show in the dealership's results. Customers who once felt intimidated or undervalued now returned, commenting on the warmer, more welcoming environment. Angela, pleased, could see her efforts creating a positive effect on both the team and the customers. Michael, who had been quietly monitoring the store's progress, observed the changes with silent satisfaction. He knew Angela was transforming the space into something more authentic and inclusive. The gradual yet noticeable shift proved he had made the right decision by entrusting her with the sales floor. Even Todd, over time, began to show a slight change in his attitude. He realized that the new approach not only improved customer satisfaction but also enhanced his relationships with his teammates. Under Angela's leadership, the dealership began to forge a new path, and Michael knew this was only the beginning of a deeper transformation. As the months passed, Angela and Michael began to develop a friendship that went beyond a professional relationship. He saw in her the same kind of determination that had driven him in his early years in the business world, and he felt inspired to mentor her. From time to time, Michael would invite her to lunch, where he would share stories from his journey and the challenges he had faced building his empire. Angela, in turn, absorbed each piece of advice, fascinated by Michael's experience. He shared lessons on leadership, sales strategies, and most importantly, how to stay true to one's principles, even in a competitive environment. This mentorship was more valuable to Angela than any course, and she felt she was growing not only as a professional but as a person as well. "Always remember that integrity is what will keep you at the top," he said to her once. "Many people will try to convince you otherwise, but the truth is that your character is your most valuable asset." Angela nodded, taking in every word. She understood the weight of what he was saying because she could see firsthand how her behavior was impacting the store and the team. She felt motivated to continue the work of transformation, never forgetting the roots of respect and empathy Michael had shown her from the beginning. As the dealership thrived, Michael grew prouder of his decision. He began to see Angela not only as an employee but as someone who, one day, might lead something much greater. Brooksville needed more people like her. Someone capable of inspiring others without needing titles or status to do so. Angela, for her part, began to see herself as more than a manager. Under Michael's guidance, she realized she was capable of achieving things that had once seemed out of reach. The insecurity that had lingered in the beginning had faded, replaced by a confident woman who understood her worth and the difference she could make. The dealership flourished under her leadership, becoming known not just for the quality of its vehicles, but for its humanized customer service. Inspired by the change, clients and staff alike began to see the space as welcoming, a departure from what it once had been. And so, with steady steps and priceless guidance, Angela continued her journey, knowing that she was not just leading a team but leaving her mark on the dealership's history and in the heart of Brooksville. Michael, by her side, knew his decision had impacted not only Angela's life but also the culture of the company and perhaps the future of many others who might one day cross that same path.